Welcome to Bobcat Radio. On today's show, we have an exclusive interview with Bryan Murphy. Bryan is the editor-in-chief of the Quinnipiac Chronicle and a 3-year beat reporter for the men's ice hockey team. The Bobcats hockey team won a share of the ECAC hockey regular season title last season and made its first NCAA tournament appearance since 2016. Before we get to Bryan, this interview is brought to you by Adidas, the official outfitter of Quinnipiac University. Adidas is all in, and the Bobcats are all in for 2019. Shop all Quinnipiac apparel online using promo code BOBCAT for 15% off your first purchase. That's promo code BOBCAT for 15% off your first purchase. And now, it's time to talk some hockey with Bryan Murphy. All right, Bryan, thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk a little bit of men's ice hockey. So, season starting up, what are your expectations for the team this season?
For the expectations, getting back to where they were last year and again and run for the Final Four. They should be finishing again top 4 in their conference. They finished the number 1 seed last year. I don't necessarily think that'll be the case this year. I think definitely a top 4. Able to get in. They should be able to make it to the semifinals, hopefully a little bit further than they were last year. And then getting into the tournament, there's no reason why I don't think they can get top 16 in the nation and make the Frozen Four and make another really good run. I mean, they ultimately fell last year to the eventual winners of the whole tournament, so they can definitely get to the tournament. I think obviously they would like to get to that next stage of being one of those Final Four teams there, but the expectations, again, are high. They exceeded expectations by a lot last year, and I think they have that high bar set once again for Quinnipiac hockey.
Mm-hmm. And you said you don't think that they'll get back to that level of winning a share of the league. What makes you think that?
I think that the loss we saw last year, how much losing a guy like Chase Prisky and Brandon Fortunato was for this team, and I think, to me, there's just still a lot of question marks. I mean, this is a young team. They only got 5 upperclassmen on the team, so it's a lot of question marks. Last year, Rand Becknold needed the freshmen to answer the bell in terms of the forwards, and they did that this year, but now you got to ask basically the same thing again, especially the defense. So it's pretty much all up to them. I just don't see them being as strong a team in the exhibition game. They just looked very young. They looked immature. They were making mistakes, and obviously it's the beginning of the year. They have time to adjust, but I just do not see them I think they have a lot more pressure on them now this year, other than last year. Last year, everyone kind of overlooking them, didn't think they were going to do anything, and they really exceeded expectations, but I think there's a lot more pressure on them this year.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of young players, what guys do you think are going to stand out for them this year? Obviously, they're going to need someone to step up.
For me, it's a big name. I mean, Skylar Brindamore, son of Rod Brindamore, he was an NHL great coach of the Carolina Hurricanes. He's coming in with high expectations. He was drafted a couple years ago by the Edmonton Oilers. He was playing alongside, I believe, Gus Van Ness and Ethan DeYoung in this exhibition game. We'll see if he's going to continue playing with those guys. I think he's got a lot of expectation. I also want to see what Ethan Lay can do. He was originally committed to go to Wisconsin. I want to say in January he decided to switch and decommitted from there, came to Quinnipiac. He had a very, very good season in juniors, so I think those two guys in the forward front are going to be exciting to watch. Defensively, I mean, it's a lot of question marks in terms of the goalie. The other one, the freshman I'd look out for is Evan Fear. He's the freshman goaltender coming in. Petruzzelli, Keith Petruzzelli, who should be right now the starter. We've seen him have the starting job the last 2 years, and he eventually loses it. So we'll see what Fear can bring to the table and if he makes it for a goalie battle for Rand Becknold.
Mm-hmm. And so going into the season, a lot of unknowns you're talking about. What do you think is one story that people aren't necessarily talking about enough as the season begins?
Honestly, I think it's some of the freshmen they're talking about. I think there's just so many of them that people don't know who to expect out of. Obviously, I talked about, a guy like Skylar Brindamore, where he's got the name attached to him, so everyone in the hockey world hears Brindamore and they expect big things out of him. But the fact of the matter is the freshmen on the defensive end, they've only got one upperclassman, Carlos Juxta. The rest is going to be compiled between sophomores and freshmen, and so I think it's going to be a matter of kind of putting guys in and kind of a feeling out process towards the beginning of the year. And I think that defensive core, who they relied a lot on last year, they had 5 upperclassmen, so they're filling 5 gaps this year. Or they're filling 4 now. Carlos did decide to come back, but they've got a lot of potential players in that top 6, but I don't think anyone really knows who's going to be that top 6 in defensively.
Thanks again to Bryan for joining the show this afternoon, and don't forget to shop all Adidas apparel online using promo code BOBCAT for 15% off your first purchase. We'll be back next week with another exclusive interview on Bobcat Radio. Until next time, I'm Logan Reardon.